All right, let's dive into the glittering, high-stakes world of the planet's most expensive diamond rings. We're talking about pieces of jewelry with price tags that are, well, they just completely defy belief.
Now, that question might sound like a bit of an exaggeration, right? But it's really not. What could possibly make a single piece of jewelry worth more than a private island? I mean, we're talking about values that rival the GDP of a small country. It's wild.
Okay, let's just start with a number to really put this into perspective. 57.3 million pounds. Yeah, that is the price tag on the world's most expensive diamond ring. Stick with me, and we are going to find out exactly which one that is and how it could possibly command such a fortune. So, before we get to that insane price, we really have to understand the journey. I mean, how did the diamond ring go from being a simple symbol of love to, well, the ultimate statement of luxury? Well, it all started way back in ancient Egypt as a symbol of love. Then the Romans used them to show fidelity. But the real game changer? That came in 1477. That's when Archduke Maximilian of Austria gave the first ever recorded diamond engagement ring. And that single act set us on a 550-year path to where we are today.
Okay, so what is the secret formula for an 8-figure price tag? Let's break it down. Let's look at the anatomy of what makes these rings so incredibly, mind-bogglingly valuable.
You know, a ring's value is basically built on 5 key factors. I like to think of it like a pyramid. You've got brand, design, and provenance, all super crucial. But the entire structure, the whole thing, rests on a foundation of pure geological perfection, and that's known as the 4 C's. First up, we've got carat. This is all about weight. It's definitely the most famous C, and it's pretty straightforward. 1 carat is just 200 milligrams. To put that in perspective, that's about the weight of a paperclip. But here's the crazy part. As the carat count goes up, the price doesn't just walk up with it. No, it absolutely skyrockets, exponentially. Next up is clarity, which is really just a measure of purity. See, most diamonds form with these tiny little imperfections. Experts call them inclusions, and you can think of them like geological birthmarks. So a truly flawless diamond, that's a stone that somehow survived its violent, chaotic journey from deep within the earth with almost no trace of that struggle. And that makes it exceptionally rare. Then we have color, and this one is a really fascinating paradox. For like 99% of diamonds, the goal is a total absence of color. You want it to look like a drop of pure water. But for a tiny, elite fraction of them, intense natural color is the absolute holy grail. We're talking about these fancy colors like a deep blue or a vivid pink. They're true geological flukes, and their rarity just sends the prices into the stratosphere. And finally, we have the only C that's actually controlled by human hands, the cut. Now, this isn't about the shape, like pear or oval. No, this is all about the pure artistry of the diamond cutter. They have to precisely angle dozens of these tiny facets to transform the stone into, well, a miniature hall of mirrors. A masterfully cut diamond is all about manipulating light to create that breathtaking fire and sparkle we all love. And all of this brings us to a huge myth that we need to bust. We're always told that diamonds are rare, but that's not exactly true. What is mind-bogglingly, unbelievably rare is a stone that hits the jackpot on all 4 C's. One that is large, flawless, perfectly colorless or vividly colored, and masterfully cut. That perfect storm, that convergence, is the real source of its value. All right, so we've covered the theory. Now let's meet the titans. These are the record breakers, the rings that perfectly embody every single principle of extreme value we've just talked about. Remember that number I threw at you at the beginning? Well, here it is again. This is the price of the undisputed king of all diamond rings, the pink star. So let's just look at the stats on this thing. At a colossal 59.6 carats, it is just huge. But really, its color is what makes it a legend. It's classified as fancy, vivid pink. That's the highest possible color grade, something that only a teeny tiny fraction of pink diamonds ever achieve. So when it sold back in 2017, it didn't just break records, it absolutely shattered them. But the pink star wasn't the first pink diamond to completely stun the auction world. Let me introduce you to its predecessor, the Groff pink. At 29 million pounds, this icon has a story that just perfectly illustrates the obsession these incredible stones can inspire. And hey, you don't have to take my word for how special it is. After he bought it, the legendary diamond merchant Lawrence Graff himself said, and I quote, "the most fabulous diamond I've seen in the history of my career." I mean, when the king of diamonds says that, you know it's something special. Okay, now for something completely different, totally out of left field. Most rings, they feature a diamond set in a metal band. Well, the all-diamond ring, valued at 44 million pounds, it is the band. The entire piece, the band, everything, was painstakingly carved out of a single, massive, 150-carat rough diamond. It is just a breathtaking feat of both engineering and art. So when you look at the top three side by side like this, you start to see a really clear pattern. The pink star, yeah, it's in a league of its own. But notice this. Two of the top three, the pink star and the Oppenheimer blue, owe their staggering value primarily to one single factor: incredibly rare color. But hold on, there is one last factor that can elevate a diamond beyond just its geology and craftsmanship, and that's its history. Because at this level, let's be real, you're not just buying a stone, you are buying a story. And honestly, there is no better example of this than the Wittelsbach Graf diamond. Just look at this journey. It was mined in India way back in the 1600s. It passed through the royal houses of Habsburg and Bavaria. It even sat in the Bavarian royal crown for centuries, before finally being sold to Lawrence Graf in 2008. That's over 300 years of documented royal history wrapped up in one stone. But this is where the story gets a little controversial. See, to achieve our modern standards of perfection, Graf had the historic stone recut. He actually sacrificed over 4 carats of its original weight, all to improve its clarity and color. And this sparked a huge debate in the jewelry world. Was he perfecting a priceless gem, or was he erasing a piece of history? So the big takeaway here is that these record-breaking rings are never just about one thing. They really represent a perfect storm, right? It's this incredible convergence of rare geology from deep within the earth, the absolute pinnacle of human artistry, and sometimes centuries of human history all rolled into one. Which really just leaves us with one final question to chew on. Are these rings symbols of timeless history and beauty, or are they simply the ultimate class of tangible investment? What they truly represent? Well, that's something worth thinking about. Thanks for joining me on this one.